Alright guys, today's lecture is brought to you by Flintstone Vitamins. That's right, we're getting into the vitamins chapter of the nutrition text. So let me pull it up and here we go. Alright, so vitamins. We will discuss the different classifications of vitamins and their general roles, how they vitamin inadequacies or if you're deficient in them, or excess can occur and why either might be detrimental to your performance and health. Explain how the DRI and tolerable upper limit levels should be interpreted. Describe if and how exercise increases the need for or accelerates the loss of particular vitamins. Compare and contrast the average intake of vitamins by sedentary adults in the US and by athletes, particularly those who restrict energy intake. Differentiate between a clinical and subclinical vitamin deficiency, how vitamins are involved in energy metabolism, blood formation, summarize results of studies conducted with and contrast vitamins A, C, and E, particularly their antioxidant functions. Compare and contrast vitamins based on their source, naturally occurring in food, added to foods during processing, and also found in supplements. And we will evaluate the need for vitamin supplements based on food intake. So here we go. All right, so deficiency diseases were still common in the early 1900s. Deficiencies are rare in developed countries today. Actually, there way back when, a lot of times they didn't know what vitamins were what. So again, one of the first ones that they sort of kind of knew what to do with was vitamin C. They knew citric fruits carried something in them that actually helped prevent scurvy. So again, this was something that they had realized when folks were on long ocean voyages. You know, the sailors would come back with scurvy, and so that was something they realized that if they had citric acid fruits and some or other fruits, other people didn't have that particular disease, right? Now they didn't know what vitamin C was back then, but this is kind of the first anecdotal evidence we saw where they realized that certain foods prevented certain problems, right? And it was a deficiency in vitamin C. Excesses have emerged as a potential problem. It used to not be an issue because people couldn't overeat foods, really. You know, I mean, I'm sure in some cases it may have happened because maybe that's the only, you know, fruit or vegetable somebody could find in abundance at some point, but it's not stuff that we really have well documented through history. So vitamins are essential, but the amounts needed daily is small. And again, different vitamins are needed in different amounts. Some are needed daily, some are not needed daily. Same thing when we get to the minerals chapter. Some act as antioxidants, or in large quantities, pro-oxidants, and we'll talk about that. Fruits, veggies, and whole grains are vitamin-rich foods. All right, so we classify usually into two things, or this is usually how I classify. Are they fat-soluble or are they water-soluble? Okay. Now, again, we can also classify them based on their functions. Are these metabolic vitamins? Are they antioxidants? Are they red blood cell formation or miscellaneous functions? Again, you know, a lot of times we'll talk about groupings. You know, a lot of times the B group vitamins are metabolic vitamins. But again, fat soluble or water soluble is usually a better way to look at them. All right. So fat soluble is A, D, E, and K. All right. So that means that they've got to travel in the same pathways as fat. You can store them just like you can store fat, so on and so forth. So you may not need to get them in as much quantity because they don't come in and out of the body as fast. And the fact that you can store them makes it where if you get good amounts of them, you can hold on to them. Now, water soluble vitamins. So if we, you know, the B, basically vitamin B1, B12, even with the pantothenic acid and biotin and folate, which is folic acid, we call that kind of the B complex, right? So a lot of times when you look at it, you'll see, you know, vitamins B and C. But again, vitamins B is a bunch of different vitamins, all right? So we got B1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6 and 12. You know, there's a, we don't really, you know, like the folate and all those, we don't really classify with numbers. Not, you know, we don't do the 4 and 5 with those, but I've seen some people try to classify them that way. But anyways, these are your B vitamin complex over here, and then you get the vitamin C. All right. So let's go through each of the vitamins. We'll talk about where you find them, what they do. They're, again, we'll touch solubility if you don't have enough of it, symptoms of it if you get it, symptoms of that, health promotion, disease prevention, and anything else you want to know. So vitamin A, okay? It's in animal sources as retinol, retinoic acid, also known as vitamin A. In plant sources, it comes in carotenoids, right? Precursor to vitamin A, including beta carotene. Everybody probably is already thinking, oh yeah, carrots, got that one, right? Major physiological functions, overall health of cells, membranes, resulting in proper vision, reproduction, bone and tooth development, immune system function, and carotenoids are also antioxidants. It is a fat-soluble vitamin. If you do not have enough of it, they call it hypovitaminosis A. Symptoms of this, again, remember we talked about vision, night blindness. I actually saw a movie that had some folks that had escaped from a concentration camp, and I can't remember the name of it. And that was one of the issues that a lot of the folks at that camp had when they were trying to escape at night, is a lot of them could not see at all. And so any of the folks that already had night blindness were not really, when they were trying to pick people to go, they were already kind of cut out of the escape, right? Permanent blindness, more frequent and severe infections, lack of growth, inability to reproduce. Toxicity would be called hypervitaminosis A. Again, symptoms, again, if you don't have enough of it, you can have eye issues. If you have too much of it, you could have blurred vision, lack of growth again, birth defects, hemorrhaging, liver failure, and can be fatal, right? So there's a few different ones on there. One thing you'll notice with a lot of the vitamins is the toxicity and deficiency a lot of times may have some similar issues, right? So this one, vision, is similar in both, okay? Health promotion, disease prevention, adequate intake daily is necessary for good health. Lack of evidence that vitamin A or beta carotene supplements prevents disease. Some evidence that mortality is increased with these supplements. So again, little lacking in the supplementation. Again, you know, if you're not over supplementing, that's where they're kind of seeing that is, if you over supplement, you could have toxicity issues. The other thing is when you look at correlational things, sometimes the reason people supplement is they don't have a good diet. So again, when you look at that they're saying there's some evidence for mortality, means that there's nothing really directly involved with it. It's just when they do some survey studies and stuff, and they look at people that, you know, have high morbidity and mortality rates, they may have filled out some questionnaire that says, yes, they supplement in vitamin A. Again, it doesn't always mean that there's a direct correlation there. And that's kind of really the thing as we go through this chapter, keep in mind. All right. Food sources, animal food sources are going to be liver, fish, oil, milk products. Again, they can be fortified. Plant is going to be dark green leafy vegetables, such as spinach, orange fruits and vegetables, for example, carrots, cantaloupe, and tomatoes. And then in the other section, we got beta carotene supplements are not recommended, and they promote tumor growth in smokers and those exposed to asbestos. Yellowing of the skin that occurs is thought to be harmless, but is indicative of high level carotenoid intake. So again, you can get this yellowish orangey tinge if you take in too much beta carotene. I've seen pictures in some nutrition texts before where it shows that. I've never seen it in real life, so kind of be interesting to see. I remember one of my lectures last year, somebody asked me if maybe that is why Donald Trump has that orangish hue. I don't know. Maybe he takes a lot of vitamin E. I have no idea. So, anyways, vitamin D. Again, major physiological functions. It regulates bone mineralization, cardiac and skeletal muscle, and growth of normal and cancerous cells. Solubility. It is a fat-soluble vitamin. If you don't get enough of it, you're more prone to rickets and osteomalacia. Symptoms of the deficiency: bowing of the legs, as we've seen, rickets, demineralizing of bones, joint pain, and muscle spasms are all things that we see in these particular diseases. Hypervitaminosis D would be the toxicity. In that, you might see calcification of tissues, including blood vessel, kidney stones, general gastrointestinal and nervous system problems. Health promotion, disease prevention, adequate intake daily is necessary for good health. Vitamin D and calcium supplements together reduce loss of bone mass, help prevent bone fractures. Vitamin D supplements help falls in older people. Food sources, fish oil, some fish such as salmon, mackerel, tuna, shrimp, fortified milk, margarine also is fortified with it. We also get it from the sun, right? So living in South Florida, go out, get you some sunshine, right? You don't have to be out there so long. Some folks are very pale and they're afraid, to burn. It's not that you got to be out there long. You just got to be out there at the right time of day. Usually when around the midday when the sun is high is the best time to be out. Okay? And depending on how light or dark your skin is going to determine how much time you got to spend out there. So if you have very, very white skin, don't spend a lot of time out there, maybe like 20 minutes or something like that, 30 minutes depending. Just get you a little bit of sun, get some vitamin D. Again, the darker your skin, for absorption, you got to be out there a lot longer. Okay. Vitamin E, major functions, antioxidant. Most people know that. They always hear about vitamin E as antioxidant, and also proper red blood cells. Again, another fat-soluble. Deficiencies are rare. What that means is we don't find a lot of people that have this issue, okay? Symptoms of the deficiencies would be anemia and muscle weakness. Toxicities, none. Toxicities are rare. Symptoms of the toxicity would be general symptoms such as fatigue or nausea. Again, this is just one of those vitamins we don't tend to see where people might have an issue. The only place I could see this would be someone who's in starvation. You can third world country can't get food. But again, we may not be able to study to see what the vitamin E problems are because, again, they may not be getting enough for other things that deteriorate their health at a much faster pace, right? So health promotion, adequate intake daily is necessary for good health. If the intake is low, increased dietary sources of vitamin E may be beneficial for preventing coronary heart disease. There's lack of evidence that vitamin E is effective in treating Alzheimer's disease or mild cognitive impairments. Some evidence that mortality is increased with vitamin E supplements in people with heart disease or diabetes. So again, people may overtake it, or again, they just notice that folks that have these issues also tend to supplement vitamin E. Right, so it could just be correlational, which remember, correlation does not equal causation. Food sources, we find it in oils, soybeans, almonds and other nuts, sunflower seeds, wheat germ, and again, it's a powerful antioxidant. Vitamin K, right? Now, vitamin K, in another book, I remember reading this and I thought this was interesting. It was found, I believe, by I don't know if he's a Dutch scientist or I believe so, or maybe a scientist from Denmark. I can't remember if it was like Belgium or Denmark. Anyways, the K actually stands for clotting. Now again, in English we spell clotting with a C, but that's when you look at this, that's an easy way to remember it. That the K in that particular language, I guess the word that they use for clotting is with a K. All right. So if you look at major physiological functions, first one on there is normal blood clotting. So an easy thing to remember if you're ever wondering, I forgot what vitamin K does. Just think, okay, K for clotting instead of the C for clotting. That always kind of helps me on tests, all right? Role in bone mineralization, again, it's fat soluble. Vitamin K deficiency would be the disease name. Symptoms would be hemorrhaging for bone mineralization. Toxicity, none. Symptoms of the toxicity are not known. We've never been able to find or study anybody that has too much vitamin K, I guess. Food sources, it is found in green leafy vegetables. Right? Other, it can be synthesized by bacteria in the intestines. Vitamin K supplements are prescription only since excessive vitamin K can interfere with different medications that prevent clotting. So, you know, if grandma or grandpa are on blood thinners, you know, supplementing vitamin K might interfere with that. All right, now we're getting into the B vitamins. All right, so first one is B1 or thiamine. Major function, release of energy from carbs, proteins, and fats through thiamine-containing enzymes. Also helps to have normal nervous system function. All right, so again, metabolic vitamins are the B vitamins. These are water soluble. If you don't get enough of it, you can get a disease called beriberi. All right, and the symptoms of that disease are muscle wasting, weight loss, cardiovascular problem. Toxicity, none known. With the toxicity, again, kind of hard to get toxicity with the water soluble, because what happens with water soluble, they come in easy, they go out easy. All right, so again, any of you that have ever had like energy drinks, they're chock full of B vitamins. A lot of times what you'll realize after drinking energy drinks is some of those B vitamins circle through, you don't use it all, so when you pee, you kind of get some really funky colored pee. A lot of that is because of the vitamins, the B vitamins that it's chock full of, leave the system, right? So again, if you don't use it, you'll lose it, all right? Health promotion, disease prevention, adequate intake daily is necessary for good health. At present time, there's not enough research for adequate determination if B1 or thiamine supplementation has any beneficial effects on Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, or any related diseases. Okay. Food sources, whole grain breads and cereals. Bread and cereal made from processed grains of flour, dried beans, and pork. Right. So again, we get them from a lot of the same foods that have a lot of carbohydrates minus the pork. Right. So that's where we get a lot of B vitamin. Other sources, deficiencies seen in the U.S. are usually due to alcohol abuse or gastric bypass surgery. B2 or riboflavin, release of energy from carbs, proteins, fats via the riboflavin containing enzymes. You'll see a chart here later that shows you the Krebs. It's really cool to see how many of these vitamins are useful in the chemical functions in that cycle, right? Normal skin development is also part of the benefits of riboflavin. Again, water soluble. Deficiency would be called riboflavin deficiency. Symptoms would be changes to the mouth, lips, tongue. You can get skin rashes. Toxicity, none, not known. Again, kind of hard to get in with the water solubles. Health promotion and disease prevention, adequate intake daily is necessary for good health. We find it in milk, leafy green veggies, whole grain breads, and cereals. Other exercise increases the need for riboflavin, although most athletes get enough of it. Again, if you're on some weird restricted diet, maybe something you might need to look into, either getting particular foods in your diet to have it, or you may have to supplement a bit, right? B3, or normally what you guys will see it in, or see it listed in, might be niacin, right? Nicotinic acid or nicotinamide. I've never seen those two listed in food products, but niacin is, okay? Major function, release of energy from carbohydrates, proteins, fats via the niacin-containing enzymes, then water soluble. Deficiency disease is called pellagra. Symptoms of deficiency, diarrhea, mental changes, skin rash. Toxicity, not named, usually referred to as niacin toxicity. Symptoms of it, flushing, itching, rash, or sweating. Again, those of you that have ever taken pre-workout, a lot of times you get this weird, like kind of red flush, or you get like this kind of like like not necessarily like a skin itch, but you get this feeling underneath where you feel like kind of itchy, kind of hot, kind of sweaty. What do I do? And again, they chock pre-vitamin or pre-workout full of niacin. And the reason they do that is it gives you this, that sort of a lot of times what people feel like that's that sense like, oh, this actually works, right? You get all this niacin, and it's called niacin flush, okay? And again, it gives you that weird feeling, and it's like, and that's one of those things that people, when there's not a lot of niacin in it, they go, oh yeah, the pre-workout doesn't work. And that's really what it is. They put that in there so you get this like weird jolt, like your skin. I had a buddy, his skin, it didn't turn red, it like turned purple because he takes so much. And so, you know, one of the ways to get that out is when you start moving and exercising, and everything's moving through. You kind of flush it out of the system, so to speak, after a little bit of time. Okay. Again, yeah, it's sort of a gimmicky thing why they put so much in there. All right, so health promotion. Adequate intake is daily is necessary for good health. High doses of niacin may be prescribed by a physician to help raise high density lipoprotein cholesterol, which is good ones, your HDL, prevent cardiovascular events such as heart attack. Food sources: meat, fish, poultry, eggs, milk, nuts, whole grain bread, cereals. Bread and cereals made from processed grains or flour can be fortified with it. Other food sources: tryptophan, which is an amino acid found in foods, is a precursor of niacin. Niacin rush or flushing itchy rash may be the result of high intake of supplement B3 in short time periods. Again, you know, that's what your pre-workouts a lot of time have a lot in. B6 or pyridoxine. Major function: release of energy stored in muscle glycogen, role in gluconeogenesis, which is making glucose from red blood cell formation, water soluble. Deficiency is not named. Symptoms of the deficiency would be small cell anemia or microcytic. Toxicity, not named, usually referred to as vitamin D toxicity. Symptoms would be nervous system impairment, including fatigue, difficulty walking, numbness, depression. Health promotion disease. Adequate intake is necessary for good health. Lack of evidence that supplementation of B6 alone or in combination with B12 and folic acid helps prevent cardiovascular events such as heart attack or stroke. Food sources: again, whole grain breads and cereals, dried beans, leafy green vegetables, bananas, meat, fish, and poultry. Not all symptoms of B6 toxicity are reversed after supplementation is withdrawn. So again, you might have permanent issues after that. Exercise increases turnover and loss of vitamin B6. So again, you may need to intake a bit more if you exercise a lot, but don't go crazy, okay? Because there are problems if you eat too much. And B12, right? Major physiological functions: synthesis of new cells, your nervous system, red blood cell formation, activation of folate. Water soluble, deficiency is not named. Problems that come with the deficiency: fatigue, nerve cell degeneration, numbness, lack of vitamin B12 absorption results in pernicious anemia. Toxicity, none. Again, symptoms not known because we haven't seen anybody get too much. Health promotion and disease prevention. Adequate intake daily is necessary for good health. Lack of evidence that supplementation of B12 alone or in combination with B6 and folic acid helps prevent cardiovascular events such as heart attack or stroke. Food sources: animal foods only, especially formulated yeast or other fortified. So this is where it becomes like a tricky issue, because this is one of those things that if you're going to get a natural source of it, the natural source would be from animals. And if you have somebody that's a vegan, the sources are, I guess what they'd have to look for. So I'm not a vegan, and I'm not picking on vegans, but like if I have a vegan out there that's watching this, what you would want to look for, if you're going to supplement B12, because again, I know that most folks that choose that route would be because they don't want an animal product or byproduct, is you need to look at how they make it. So you're going to have to manufacture it from chemicals in a lab to make the B12. Okay. And so when you're looking for a supplement, I don't know, if there's a vegan specific supplements out there, say vegan specific B12, because a lot of times when people are trying to get more of it, and they come from animal sources. So that's just something, just kind of helping you out. If you're looking for that, you'll have to make sure that it's a vegan source, because again, the only naturally occurring way that we get it is from animal foods only. And the other part, intrinsic factor, which is produced in the stomach, is needed for vitamin B12 absorption in the intestine. Lack of IF may require B12 injections, and injections do not boost immunity athletes. So right, folate. Folate, when found naturally in foods, or folic acid when it's added to fortified foods or in supplements. Okay, so again, if you eat it in foods, just called folate, or so you may see in food sources, it'll say folate. If it's added in afterwards, or if you're going to buy a supplement, it's going to be called folic acid. Okay, basically same thing. Major roles: synthesis of new cells and helps form red blood cells. Right, water soluble. Deficiency, their known name. Symptoms of deficiency: megaloblastic large cell anemia, depression, in pregnancy, increased risk for neural tube defects. That's why in prenatal vitamins, folic acid is a big deal in the prenatal vitamins, right? And it's for the preventing the neural tube defects. Toxicity, none. Again, symptoms not known. Health promotion, disease prevention, adequate intake daily is necessary for good health and reduce the prevalence of neural tube defects in utero. Lack of evidence that supplementation of folic acid alone or in combination with B6 and 12 helps to prevent cardiovascular events such as heart attacks and stroke. Food sources: leafy green veggies, whole grain breads, cereals, dried beans, bread and cereals made from processed grains or flour. Again, a lot of them will be fortified. And then orange juice. Other folate supplementation can mask symptoms of B12 deficiency. It can delay diagnosis. So again, if you are getting high amounts of folate, and say again that you don't eat any animal sources, right? So you're on a vegan diet, and you go to the doctor, they draw your blood, I want to check things out, make sure everything's okay. And you may not notice that you have vitamin B12 issues because you are over compensating with folic acid, right? They may not be able to diagnose that. So again, you may want to tell your doctor, hey, I'm a vegan, I don't get any B12, or again, make sure that you're going to supplement that in, and again, you'll have to find a non-animal food source if you're going to go that route. Okay. Pantothenic acid. Its major physiological role: it releases energy from carbs, proteins, fats through acetyl-CoEnzyme A. So this is an oxidative energy release. Again, you guys will see this when we get to the Krebs cycle here in a little bit. Water soluble again. Deficiency, there's no deficiency named. If you don't get enough pantothenic acid, you might feel fatigue. No toxicity, again, it's water soluble, so it'd be hard to get toxic levels of pantothenic acid. Food sources, it's widely distributed in foods, so you'll find it in a lot of different foods, right? Biotin, again, release of energy from carbs, proteins, and fats. Solubility, water soluble like all the rest of the B vitamins. Deficiency, again, not named. Signs of deficiency is the same as all of them. Fatigue, this one also has loss of appetite. No toxicity, and again, it's another one of those that you find in so many different foods that they don't even list it here. Vitamin C, major physiological function, synthesizes collagen. It's an antioxidant. Immune functions, aids absorption of iron. Again, water soluble. Deficiency, scurvy. Again, what does scurvy look like? Poor wound healing, bleeding gums, small blood vessel hemorrhages. Toxicity, no toxicity named, but if you get too much vitamin C, you might have diarrhea, fatigue, and kidney stones in some people. Health promotion, disease prevention, adequate intake daily is necessary for good health. dietary intake is low. Increasing dietary sources of vitamin C may be beneficial for preventing coronary heart disease. Vitamin C supplementation does not prevent colds in general population, but by increasing it can reduce the duration. So again, you hear all these folks that say, oh yeah, you got to take it, during cold season, you won't get a cold with vitamin C. No, but it will help you. If you do get it, it will help shorten the time that you got the cold. So understand that, okay? I hear that all the time. Oh yeah, you got to get vitamin C, or you got to take that, whatever that one that teacher created that you can buy at the supermarket. Oh yeah, it prevents it. Once you get a cold, if you get it, like you start feeling it coming on, take it. It'll prevent it. It doesn't prevent it. It's just it makes the duration not so bad, right? You can't take it before, and expect not to get it. Okay, you basically got to, avoid it like you do everything else. But yeah, it's not going to prevent it. Okay. Some evidence that supplementation may prevent colds in those who engage in rigorous exercise, especially in cold temperatures. Again, the evidence is very lacking. And so saying that it prevents it, again, I think it's sort of a weird step to go that far, because again, they said before, it doesn't prevent colds, but it reduces duration. We've seen that. I don't know where they get that part from this book. And again, it's contradictory to what they just said, that somehow it doesn't prevent it, but it will prevent it as long as you exercise and in cold temperatures. It doesn't make any sense, right? So why they would put that in there, I'm not sure. But no, whatever evidence they have for that, I would imagine is lacking. My guess would be it's some type of correlational study. And again, they're making a jump in putting that. Food sources. Again, most people think oranges. Really, any citrus fruits, grapefruit, another citrus fruit. Strawberries, cabbage, broccoli, peppers, and tomatoes also have vitamin C. It's an antioxidant that works independent and also in conjunction with vitamin E. Okay. So guidelines for daily vitamin intake, DRIs. So how much is enough, right? So, just if this is the level I need, how do I get to that level? And then the UL, or tolerable upper limit, is how do I not cross those barriers, right? How do make sure I don't get toxicity, right? Influence of exercise and vitamin requirements as well. So factors that could increase need, right? Decrease absorption from the GI tract, increased loss of sweat or urine, increased number of vitamin-dependent enzymes. So again, when you exercise, it taxes your body. You go through things more than when you don't exercise. This is not my skill to be like, oh yeah, go be lazy, and no. You just may need a little bit more vitamins. Not a big deal, right? It's, the exercise is worth it. Factors that can decrease needs is decreased excretion in urine and more effective recycling processes. Okay? And the effect of exercise is presumed to be small, right? So again, we don't know exactly how much it is. And again, from person to person, it's going to be different because we all have different metabolic factors that are going on. And so, again, if you exercise heavy and often, you may just want to think of, okay, if I'm getting all these at this level, maybe I just want to go a little bit higher just to make sure, don't go crazy, try to go for the upper limits, but just try to get a bit more, right? And athletes can improve their vitamin status by increasing their intake of fruits, veggies, and whole grains. Best way to do it, right? Get it from the food sources first. Probability of adequate vitamin intake for adult males and females. All right, so this is just showing you what the probabilities are. So percentage-wise, it seems more people get their B vitamins better than they do anything else. Vitamin C is a bit less, vitamin A, and vitamin E seems to be one that we have trouble getting. All right. Stages associated with vitamin deficiencies: mild deficiency, low intake or adequate intake, but low absorption. Subclinical deficiency would be the initial decline in the vitamin-related enzymes, rarely measured outside of the research setting. Continued decline in vitamin-related enzymes, infrequently measured. Clinical deficiency, general symptoms you know, you're going for fatigue or gastrointestinal distress, they'll test your blood and urine and things like that, and be like, hey, you're not getting enough of this. So specific symptoms of the vitamin deficiency disease become more prevalent as you get lower and lower. Developing and reversing vitamin toxicities takes months or years to develop. It's not something like you just eat like a whole hand, just a bunch of carrots, and all of a sudden you're going to turn orange, or start to see toxic issues. Mild deficiencies will start first and work their way up. Non-specific medical signs and symptoms. A lot of times, you may just feel weird, right? Like something's off, right? Again, toxicities in the U.S. are rare, and treatment is to stop consumption of the supplements, right? Usually, you're not going to get toxicity from foods. Where somebody may get that is, like I said, you're in a very poor country. You've got access to one food source. Like say you're a carrot farmer, some issues going on in your country. So basically, you're just eating your crops, and that's all you got. Okay, that might be where you see it. All right. Where we would see it would be we're over supplementing. So vitamin energy metabolism. Each vitamin has specific roles. The vitamin is part of an enzyme, and it's referred to the B complex vitamins, right? So again, these are the B complex vitamins. So we got thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, B6, and pantothenic acid. The coenzymes that come from thiamine are TPP, thiamine pyrophosphate, and it's also known as thiamine diphosphate. Okay. Biochemical pathways, decarbonization of pyruvate, and alpha ketoregulation. All right, so we talked about those a little bit in the bioenergetic chapter. Riboflavin B2, flavin mononucleotides, FMN, as you'll see it written, or flavin adenine dinucleotide, FAD, which you'll see a lot in the Krebs cycle. Okay? Biochemical pathway, numerous oxidation reduction reactions, and accept and release a pair of hydrogen atoms, right? And again, thiamine will remove COOH groups to form CO2. Niacin B3, nicotine, this one I can never say, but you always see it as NAD, right? I'll try it again. Nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, right? That's all I'm giving you on that. And then again, the same thing, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate is NADP and NADPH. Again, you will see these in, as we look at the Krebs cycle and electron in the electron transport chain and everything, all right? So NAD and NADH transfer electrons in the electron transport chain. NADP and NADPH are involved in reduction reactions in many parts of the cells. Okay? B6, you'll see is the pyridoxal phosphate PLP, needed for amino acid metabolism, including transamination, where the pyrazine transferring and removal of sulfur, cleavage, and synthesis. And pantothenic acid is a component of acetyl coenzyme A, and it's critical intermediate compound in energy production, carbs, proteins, and fats. All right. So here's the chart that we're talking about. Again, we're not going to go through the whole process again of the Krebs cycle, right? We've kind of gone over it and skipped over it several times because they show this cycle a lot in this book. And again, because of the importance of what it does in your body. But what I want you to look at is the key in the lower right-hand corner with the NAD, FAD, PLP, TDP, coenzyme A, and trans ketolase. It shows you that the NAD contains niacin, FAD contains riboflavin, PLP contains pyroxine, vitamin B6, TDP, also called TPP, has your thiamine, coenzyme A, contains pantothenic acid, and transketolase contains thiamine. So when you look through that, you can see all, if you go by the colors or you go by the names in there, you can see how all the B vitamins play a part in the metabolism in the Krebs cycle. Okay, and even prior to that, right? So you see PLP, the NAD, NADH. Again, we see more PLP, TDP, NAD, and NADH. That happens after the pyruvate becomes acetyl coenzyme A. But again, we've got PLP and just NAD and NADH that gets down to the pyruvate before it goes to become lactic acid as well, right? So we use this in, these are involved in both anaerobic. Some of these are involved in anaerobic, and again, this is showing you their involvement in the aerobic chain of energy use and rephosphorylation. Okay. So again, B1 is part of the coenzyme TPP, as we said, prevalent skeletal muscle cells. More B1 does not result in more TPP or more ATP. Carb foods such as whole grain breads and cereals have B1. Low B1 intake is associated with low energy intake. So again, somebody that's on some type of diet may have an issue with getting B1. And B1 supplements are not likely to improve your performance from an athletic standpoint. Okay. So here's nutrient-dense carb-containing foods such as bread, cereals, grains that have thiamine or B1. All right, so riboflavin B2, part of the coenzymes FMN and FAD, which you see a lot of in the citric acid cycle or Krebs cycle, prevalent in oxidation reduction reactions. More B2 does not result in more coenzymes. Low B2 intake is associated with low energy intake, and B2 is found in a variety of foods. All right, so here's riboflavin containing foods. Most of the ones on here, or all the ones on here, it looks like are, let's see, what's another word? All these look like different dairy products. I'm trying to see if anything like this. Not that yogurt's got its cheese, cheeses, and milk. Yeah, these are all dairy products. But again, these are excellent sources of riboflavin. Right? Energy metabolism, niacin D3, part of the coenzymes NAD and NADP. Critical roles in ATP production. More B3 does not result in more coenzymes. Low B3 intake associated with low energy intake, and B3 is found in protein-containing foods. All right, so get your peanut butter on. That's one of my favorite foods. Again, a lot of people think, like people ask me, I even got asked this today, do you eat a lot of peanut butter for the protein? I do enjoy that there's protein in there, but no, I eat it because I love it. It's more, if you're going to call it if you're going to give it one, again, if you talk about food sources and you're like, yeah, it's, this is what the majority of it is. Some things, like if you look at the chicken meats there, that, like the poultry, if you're going to look at it from a macro standpoint, yeah, poultry is mostly protein. Other, the pork over there, depending on how much fat you cut off, can be mostly protein, or if you eat a lot of fat with it, it's going to, just depends. Again, tuna can be mostly protein. Peanut butter just has so much fat in it. Any nuts and the oil from the nuts is going to have a lot of fat. It's mostly a fat source, but it does have a good amount of protein, I guess is the best way to look at it. But then you need a lot of fat calories with peanut butter, but I don't care. I just love to eat it. I eat it every morning on waffles, so is what it is. All right, energy metabolism, pyrazine, B6, part of the coenzyme PLP, prevalent in skeletal muscle cells, critical role in amino acid metabolism and glycogen breakdown. Okay, so again, helps you break down your glycogen, so you can use it. It also helps you to metabolize amino acids as well. B6 intake is associated, or low B6 intake is associated with low energy intake, and B6 is found in protein-containing foods and green leafy vegetables. Right. So again, you see it, and the different meats that they've got shown up there with the green leafy vegetables. Again, these are also, Also good sources of iron. So again, you find B6 and iron and a lot of those similar sources once we get to the mineral section. Okay? Pantothenic acid and biotin. Pantothenic acid is part of the acetyl-CoA enzyme. Biotin is involved in numerous energy reactions. Widely distributed in foods and deficiencies are extremely rare. Oxidative stress. So oxidative stress, we usually talk about free radicals or reactive oxidative species. Most of the time you guys hear free radicals. That's usually what they're byproducts of oxidative phosphorylation processes. Again, people think, oh yeah, that's that thing. Well, your body naturally has to do something. Okay? Again, if you can, if you got everything in your body that you need, not a big deal. Your immune system takes care of it. Your antioxidants take care of it. But yes, ROS can damage cell membranes and DNA. Antioxidants will help maintain the balance between the rate of the ROS production, and ROS clearance. Role of exercise. Exercise is a physiological stress that can result in an imbalance between ROS production and clearance. Directly relates to increased exercise intensity and duration. And endurance training results in an increase in antioxidant protection. So it's kind of weird. By exercising, you may cause some more oxidative stress, but at the same time, it can also increase antioxidant protection. So, it's one of those things that, somebody might say, oh, yeah, well, now we found something bad about exercise. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things if you look at it on a micro level, you're like, okay, you did some damage to some muscle tissue. But again, when we do those things, there's a protective effect as well as a rebuilding effect that's much better for us. And we always find that with exercise. The only people that really nitpick that are people looking for an excuse not to exercise. And basically, there is no excuse not to exercise, right? Vitamins and antioxidant protection. Direct interactions with ROS prevent damage, may be able to repair some damage, depending on how much damage is done. At high concentration, vitamins can act as pro-oxidants, so they can protect rather than react. Studies of antioxidant supplementation in endurance athletes have been mixed. It doesn't really show that antioxidant supplementation helps, doesn't show that it hurts. Basically it's, when they do these things, there's some folks that swear by it, like, hey, we see some benefits, and then you got some other folks shows no benefits. Again, what it might be is either you get a placebo effect. So here, we'll look at the two different scenarios. It does absolutely nothing, but there's a placebo effect. Or I guess we'll give you three scenarios. The other scenario is it does work. Some people just don't notice it works. Or the third possibility is there's responders and non-responders, and you're not sure which, what's the truth that's really going on. Prudent approach is to consume a diet rich in fruits, veggies, and whole grain. All right, so again, man, I love peppers. Green chilies and red chilies are my favorite foods. But yeah, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and whole grains are rich in antioxidants. So vitamin E in particular, primary antioxidant in cell membranes, can prevent cell damage by direct interaction with this dietary intake. DRI is 15 milligrams daily, so that's the minimum amount, right? Intake may be low in athletes who restrict their energy and fat intakes. Again, you've got to get fat in your diet so that it can travel through the same pathways, and also to store it, you need some fat on your body, right? Supplementation, popular with athletes, low potential for toxicity. Current evidence suggests supplements do not enhance training by means. Doses greater than 200 milligrams a day may increase oxidative damage, and dose may be listed on the labels as the IU. So look at what the IU is, and don't come in over here. If you're trying to get more of it, come in somewhere in here. Okay. And again, one thing to think of is if you're a bigger human being, you can be closer to it, especially if you're really athletic fast metabolisms and things like that. Here, if you're a smaller person, like don't shoot as close to the upper limit because your upper limit might be south of there somewhere. Okay. Excellent sources of vitamin E include oils, seeds, nuts, whole grains, and veggies. Right. Again, some of these on here. Nothing against avocados. I feel like lately avocados. And really, I love guacamole. My family eats a lot of avocados. We just always have, like, put them on sandwiches and things like that. But again, yeah, they're good. They're a fatty, they're a fatty food source, but they're also a good source of vitamin E. So again, you got to be careful with that. I know some people think, oh yeah, it's the fats in there are mostly good fats, so I don't need to worry. They can still help you exceed your caloric intake, right? Or your caloric expenditure. So still be careful with it. Okay? Vitamin C functions independently in extracellular tissue, functions with vitamin E. Dietary intake is 75 milligrams daily for non-smokers, 90 milligrams daily for non-smoking females, and 90 for non-smoking males. Most athletes meet the DRI, and vitamin C is usually because of the foods it's in. It's not really one that people tend to have a lot of issues getting. Adequate daily intake is important because it's water soluble. Again, it comes in, it goes out. Right? Supplementation, popular especially to self-treat colds, does not prevent colds but may reduce duration. Current evidence for enhanced need by athletes and benefit of supplementation is mixed. Excessive intake may increase oxidative damage. What? They're not going to bring up the fact that they said something earlier about somehow it prevents colds in distance athletes that work out in the cold. Again, that's kind of a weird one to have on there, but again, like I told you, I wouldn't pay any attention to that particular anecdote that they have in the slides. All right, so vitamin C containing fruits and veggies include strawberries, citrus fruits, and peppers. All right, so again, if you lack citrus fruits, but you're good about eating, it's got cauliflower on there and peppers, asparagus, maybe that's the main source of vitamin C. Again, good mix of all is a better approach, but I do know some folks may avoid certain foods, whether based on just dietary preference and so on. Vitamin A is an antioxidant. Term includes both preformed and precursors. So the preformed is retinol. Precursors are which include beta compounds, weak antioxidant compared to vitamin C and E. So it's not as strong as C and E, right? DRI is 700 micrograms, not milligrams daily as the other ones. For non-pregnant adult females, DRI is 900 micrograms daily for adult males. Low intake due to energy restrictions, lack of fruit and veggies, diets rich in foods containing beta-carotene associated with low risk for heart disease. Supplementation, popular in the past, supplements may actually increase risk for premature mortality. Again, I'd like to see how they figure that out in most studies. And supplements not recommended for those who smoke. Excessive intake may increase oxidative damage. Okay. So again, dark green, orange, and red colored fruits and veggies are excellent sources of vitamins. I see some delicious foods on there, so shouldn't really lack it. Red blood cell function, vitamin B12, water soluble, but some is stored in the liver. Deficiency usually as a result of poor intake or poor absorption, lack of intrinsic factor. With folic acid forms coenzymes and you produce red blood cells. Dietary intake, found naturally only in foods of animal origin. Okay, again, we talked about that. Several vitamin B12 fortified products are available. The DRI is 2.4 micrograms daily for adults, very small amount. Deficiencies would take years to develop. Supplementation necessary if absorption is impaired. B12 injections in athletes do not boost your energy, and some risks are associated with the B12 injections. And here's your food sources. So again, vegan, vegan sources are going to have to be synthesized and supplemented. Okay. Red blood cell function folic acid, also known as folate or folacin. I've never seen it listed as that, but it is. With the vitamin B12 forms of coenzymes needed to produce red blood cells. Deficiency at conception results in neural tube defects, megaloblastic anemia. Dietary intake: found natural in green leafy veggies. In the U.S., mandatory fortification of cereals and grains. The DRI is 400 micrograms daily for adults. Upper limit is 1,000 micrograms daily from fortified foods and supplements. In supplementation, no evidence to suggest improved athletic performance. Again, here's some good sources. Folic acid, right? So you can see some grains, some fruits, some beans, some flax cereal thing, and some Kashi Golden Crunch. Naturally occurring vitamin sources, nutrients put in foods by nature. Each vitamin has naturally occurring food sources advantages, may be an excellent source of a single vitamin, may contribute to several vitamins, contains other nutrients, good absorption. Total diet approach is good to prevent many chronic diseases. Disadvantages: variety of nutrient-dense foods, essential, adequate energy intake needed, and time and effort required. So it's hard to get all your vitamins, especially when you've got this mix of trying to get all your vitamins from foods, but keep your calories low. You know, it can be tricky, and it takes some work. And again, that's the issue, right? Is that there's a variety of nutrient-dense foods that have all these essential vitamins and minerals, but again, they may also contribute to, you over consuming certain calories. So, there's certain things you may feel comfortable cutting out that may have the vitamins that you need, right? So with that said, I keep talking about like, get it naturally, get it naturally, get it naturally. It's okay if you've got to supplement vitamins and minerals in your food, based on your trying to find what works for you and trying to have some type of good food consumption, keep your weight down or get your weight down, and those type of things as well. So fortified vitamin sources, this means that vitamins are lost with food processing. So again, there's when you see fortified and enriched, okay? Fortified means it used to be in that particular food, but the way that they make that food now and process it and everything, that it's lost in that. Okay, so what they do is they add it back in. Okay, so the advantage is excellent sources of vitamins, prevents widespread deficiencies, well absorbed. Disadvantage: not all vitamins lost are replaced. Okay, and not necessarily as nutritious as the original. So thought process is a lot of times, sometimes when something naturally occurs in the food, is your body absorbs it better. Okay, and that may be again dependent on the person who eats it and so on and so forth. All right, and the other things that are in those foods. So supplement vitamin sources. Again, they don't really talk about enriched in this book, but again, just remember that enriched means that it's something that, for example, if you get orange juice, I remember orange juice there's orange juice that's enriched with like a lot of calcium. Why is that? Because a lot of parents and kids may not, they may let their kids drink juice, or their kids prefer juice, they won't get milk, right? So they realize that, in a source, like, hey, you're not getting enough calcium. We're going to enrich more calcium into the orange juice so that these kids don't drink milk at any time or get any milk products of any sort, may get more calcium in their diet that way, right? So that's the difference between fortified and enriched. Fortified means it used to be in there, lost it through the processing of that particular food. Enriched means it's not naturally ever in there, but because it's a popular enough product, especially with children or adults, and they don't get enough of this particular vitamin or mineral, will enrich it in that, okay? So supplement vitamin sources, concentrated sources, amount in the supplement may be more than could be consumed from food. Bioavailability may be high, maybe not, just depends. Advantages, excellent source of one or more vitamins, prevent or reverses deficiencies. People look at it as an insurance policy. In case I'm not getting enough of it, I'm taking supplements. Disadvantages, you could get excessive amounts as a possibility, and it may not be needed. So again, you may be wasting your money because you're getting enough of that particular one. And again, if you're getting enough, it may not necessarily be beneficial. So again, if it makes you feel better and you're not exceeding anything, I would say go for it. All right. So again, this is showing you fortified cereal multivitamin supplements in comparison. Again, some things, are at the 100% daily value. Some things are less than that. So again, the multivitamin is going to have you high enough, right? But if you eat other foods, that's where you may want to, be aware, especially if over time you start feeling like there's some issues and maybe you are hitting up toxicity. I don't know why they like to throw this in there, but just to give you an idea, here's an example of a high-fat, high-sugar, low-fiber diet, right? So 2 fried eggs, 2 pieces of white toast with butter, 2 slices of bacon, 8-ounce coffee, with, 1 tablespoon each of cream and sugar, ham and cheese sandwich, 1 ounce bagged potato chips, 16-ounce soft drink, 3 Oreo cookies, cheeseburger, medium fry, 16-ounce soft drink, half a cup of chocolate ice cream. Minus the fact I don't like chocolate ice cream, I'd rather have, vanilla ice cream. I'm not really a big ice cream guy to begin with. This sounds to me like a great cheat day. I'm just going to be honest with you. All that sounds delicious. Now, again, there's low fiber in that. Again, none of those foods are bad foods. If you ask me, like I said, there's no such thing as bad food. Now, again, that right there, looking at it, is one high caloric day. So you wouldn't want to do all that all the time. But again, any of those foods right there, those can be healthy foods. Again, you got to kind of pick the moderation and how you want to eat all that out, right? But yeah, I don't know why they want to throw that in there just to make you feel bad about yourself. But again, any of those can be used for good health. But again, you definitely would like to, I think what they're saying because of the chapter we're on is make sure that you're getting some good amounts of vitamins in there. And again, why they're bringing up fiber, because we're not really in a fiber chapter here. Let me just bring it up again. Remember, some of these authors get on their little health kicks with what they want to write in the books. So again, we've got fiber thrown into like 3 different chapters, as you've seen here. All right. So we're going to kind of skip through this slide with that. Here's a nutrient-dense whole food diet. Again, these are all things we've seen before. So oatmeal, we know it has a good amount of fiber. It's also nutrient-dense. Whole wheat toast versus the white toast. Again, more peanut butter. It says 1 tablespoon. I exceed that way too much. Non-fat milk, orange juice, black coffee, lentil soup, avocados, oil vinegar, whole wheat rolls, non-fat milk. Again, they're also showing you, which we're not talking about in here, is lowering the fat content maybe in your foods as well. Bananas have a good amount of fiber. Brown rice, broccoli, as you look down that list, you see a lot of things that have a good amount of fiber in it, right? And again, the best thing to do is if you go through that slide and go to the slide 2 slides back, mix and match. If you're having, fried eggs and white toast, maybe with that you might want to have some oatmeal, to add some fiber or something in there. So again, it's not about, again, these particular authors sometimes get a little bit on these high horses. There's no good food, no bad food. It's just how you mix and match things together to give you ultimate health, as well as the fact that, what you enjoy and not enjoy and those type of things into your diet. All right. Again, we looked at all the B vitamin complex, and these are from intake DRI and what people are getting. Are they getting enough of it or not? Right. Again, this book is a bit outdated, so it'd be interesting to see what those numbers are now today. Again, here's a comparison chart of high fat, high sugar diet and nutrients diet. Nutrients diet is going to get more vitamin A, E, C, and all your B vitamins out of whole, versus a high fat, high sugar diet. That, again, depending on what you consider sugar, a lot of nutrient dense foods were fruits and vegetables, and fruits can have a lot of sugar. Bananas have a lot of sugar in them, right? Again, it's kind of weird how they pick on certain things in this, but you guys, hopefully by having the first nutrition class with Alex and the second one with me, you passed all that nonsense, and even seeing that we see a lot of bias in our textbooks sometimes. Okay. Here's a low energy diet. And one of the problems with low energy diets a lot of times is when people are cutting out calories, they also cut out vitamins. So again, if you are lowering your calorie intake, make sure that you may want to supplement in some vitamins to, like your body, so that you don't see any issues, over time with deficiencies. Then another slide showing high vitamin content diet when you have highly fortified foods. You guys can go back and look through these. I'll post the slides by themselves so you don't have to, once you've been through the lecture, you can just look at each one of these individually. Again, this is showing you the back label of a food source. So this will again show you the percentage of the daily values. And again, this is based on, like depending on how many, is this a 2,000 calorie diet, 2,500 calorie diet? It should say that on the label as well. This just shows you this one part based on the supplement fact on here. So then this is some type of B supplement, vitamin, or it's high in B supplements, high in C and A and E. They don't have. Again, remember, vitamin K has to be prescribed by a doctor because of the problems that it has with folks that are taking blood thinners, right? And it tells you where the ingredients come from. So the vitamin A comes from the fish liver oil. Storage, tells you how to store it, keep in a cool, dry place. Uses dietary supplement, take only 1 tablet daily. And again, there's a good reason for that, because if you look at some of these, so like the thiamine, you're getting over 3,000% of your daily value. Riboflavin, close to 3,000. Vitamin B6, 2,500%. Right? Vitamin E, over, again, over 1,000%. You don't want to, double up on those pills. Okay? So again, in summary, vitamins are essential because each plays different intakes, and too little, either too little or too much. B vitamins and vitamin C and all that, because they're water soluble, kind of hard to take in too much. Again, you'd have to supplement that in quite a bit. And again, if you're exercising a lot, you've got good water intake and all that, more than likely, you're still going to have trouble getting in too much, because water soluble, you're going to excrete out at higher amounts than the fat soluble vitamins. Athletes in training are unlikely to need more than the daily recommended intake, the dietary recommended intake. Adequate vitamin intake is associated with adequate caloric intake in a variety of nutrient-dense foods. Vitamins do not provide energy, so you're not going to see them listed with kilocalories, but the foods that they come with will. Okay? Vitamins A, C, and E are antioxidants used to combat your oxidative stress and your ROS. Excessive intake can result in pro-oxidant properties. Again, I don't like the word excessive. Higher amounts is a better term. You don't ever want to take anything in excess. And a food first, supplement second policy can serve athletes well. This is one of the things I do agree with the book. You know, again, it's better to get food sources. Again, your body absorbs those better. They're more bioavailable. Bioavailable. Again, if you notice you're lacking based on your diet and the needs you have, and you're trying to restrict maybe calories and so on and so forth, then that's where the supplementation will come into play. All right. That's it for this chapter. If you guys have questions, we're going to go over this again when we go through the Blackboard Live, so you guys can ask me then. I'll also post these notes by themselves, or the slides or the PowerPoints by themselves, so that you guys have any additional studying and you don't want to go back to the entire chapter, you can do that as well. But again, vitamin chapter, that's it. And we'll hit minerals next.